how's it going? If you don't know me, my name is Atalia Navarro, and I'm going to be a junior this year at Wellesley College, and I will be running for your 2023-2024 Public Relations Officer for District 1-5. I have many ideas and many things that I want to say, so let's get into it. So for some context about me, I was born and raised in LA in a predominantly Filipino community until I was around 8 years old, in which I was actually sent off to a predominantly white boarding school, and I didn't really have a Filipino community there for me anymore. I was left as pretty much not only the only Filipino in my schools, but also the only Southeast Asian, and the lack of representation made me feel extremely out of place, and I felt like I was out of touch with my Filipino culture and heritage. But when I got to college, I was introduced to D1 Find, and I had the opportunity to foster my connections with my culture again, and also interact with people who are of a similar cultural background as myself. However, upon my arrival to D1, I am from a smaller school, I did realize that there was a little bit of an issue with representation within the smaller schools such as Wellesley, Bentley, Tufts, etc. And I would try my best as a public relations officer to do my best to bring out people from smaller schools to more D1 events and also publicize our fundraisers and events as much as possible. I think that what's really scary for people, though, who come from smaller schools, if you can relate to me, is really taking the first step and reaching out to people who already know that they have their place in D1 or within their own Filipino group already. And I want to be able to be there for people who are coming from smaller schools, since it is really difficult, and I understand how it feels, because when I first reached out to people, I had the hardest time, considering that I didn't know anybody and nobody knew who I was. And so I really want to be there as someone that people can reach out to as a friend to have inside and outside of D1 events. And that would be one of my main priorities as a pro, to be a resource for people to come to when they need help reaching out to other people. I think that being one of the pros for next year would not only be a win for Wellesley, but a win for smaller schools in general, which is pretty much, I think, a win for D1 as a whole. I would really love the opportunity to help foster more community amongst all of the schools in the district. Not only do I think collaboration is important between big schools and smaller schools, I think that collaboration between smaller schools with each other is really pivotal for fostering more community in D1. For example, I would love if Wellesley could have more opportunities with Bentley, for example, considering that we are in closer proximity to each other than some of the other Boston schools. Another thing that I would like to propose is something that we tried on D1 eBoard for a little bit, called eBoard Buddies, except it would be a little bit more similar to D1 Buddies. And I know that we did try that a little bit earlier this year, but they kind of sort of fell through. So I'm hoping that next year we can implement something similar to that, except each group has to meet at least once a semester, and each group gets to have 2 people from each school, or from each school that's within each group, so that each person feels comfortable and also included. From this, I think that it's reasonable to ask that people would take photos and send a rundown of everything that happened that day, so pros could work closely with media specialists and make Instagram posts talking about what they did. I think that would be really good for helping not only show that people in D1 community can come together despite being from different schools, but it can also help them become friends. I think it also shows that we are an active organization that does things outside of our big events. Along with this, I would also like to improve our website, social media, and more. I think that updating our website will help not only students who are curious about D1, but also help potential speakers, companies, and alumni get to further know about what D1 is up to, which could honestly greatly help our community chairs for their future events. And so, in D1, I've had the opportunity to meet some of my best friends that I know I'm going to keep for the rest of my life. And I would love to allow other people to have the same opportunity that I had, and not really let a barrier such as being from a smaller school be an obstacle that they have to overcome. And so as pro, I would love to offer myself as a resource to other people who are from smaller schools to reach out to as somebody they can see and view as a friend, and somebody that they can see as somebody who can help foster further relationships amongst schools. Thank you.